This live edition focuses on Europe's place in the global economy today and tomorrow.
This is the European Business Summit 2011, a prestigious event organized by Brussels lobby group Business Europe. It is here that leaders of the world's most wealthy companies meet with Europe's top decision makers. For most of them, it is also the perfect occasion to make some new friends.
We invite you to make the most of the various networking opportunities and wish you a very captivating EBS.
But before the first session could even begin, Greenpeace activists had sealed off the building, preventing anyone from entering. Guys, before you get locked away, why did you seal off the building?
We created two gates. One gate that allowed the companies that have a commitment to cut off CO2 emissions by 30%. They are allowed to go in because they set the example for companies that keep on claiming that this change is negative to their economy.
Mag niet?
Mag niet. Blootstelling in het publiek mag niet.
Okay. While talking to Greenpeace, we noticed another NGO was trying to get its message across in a much softer way.
Good morning. It's a special summit edition of European Noise.
Well, we are distributing a newspaper, the European Noise. We want to expose the climate lobbying in the EU, and especially the climate lobbying that is happening here in this summit.
However, it seemed unlikely their initiative would have any impact. If not for the fact that they had succeeded in getting one of their people inside who was putting the same newspaper on almost every table. The newspaper featured headlines as Business Group rejects climate action. It included stories about embarrassing threesomes between European politicians and industry. And it included a quite shocking parody of an advertisement by oil company Royal Dutch Shell. So we went up to the man spreading this newspaper and asked him if he wasn't exaggerating.
No, we're not exaggerating. We're quoting from Shell's own sustainability report. Shell is always saying we are in favor of sustainable development. We want to reduce our CO2 footprint. We want to reduce gas flaring. If you read their sustainability report of 2010, the gas flaring in Nigeria, despite of all the critique that they have been receiving for the last 15 years, they went up with more than 30%.
We are basically doing this newspaper to show climate lobbying as it really is. The climate talks in the EU are all about promoting growth and competitiveness and jobs. Actually, we want to show that these arguments do not hold, they are not real.
Well, it's a clever initiative to draw attention to the cause. I think they're taking a very complex issue, though, and trying to boil it down into a very simple narrative.
Well, I think it is part of the game. It's fine if other NGOs, etc., express their views. Only that what is written in there is just wrong.
I congratulate them. I find it amusing. It looks remarkably like a well-known newspaper in Brussels. It's not exactly the same, and the content is obviously different.
It's a little bit childish, the way to do it, and we've grown up. And I think if we want together to come to a solution, we find the way.
But I think it's humorous, and humour is part of the democratic process if we've got any sense, and I think it's wonderful. It's had an impact.
saw you're taking away the newspapers, but you're taking away European noise, and the new Europe, you leave it on the... But have you had the instruction to take away these newspapers?
We want to expose the way that Business Europe is blocking effective action against climate change. We're especially targeting Business Europe because Business Europe is the most powerful lobby group in Brussels.
Well, I think everybody can react and show what they want to say. It's a little bit unfair because we work a lot on the issues of climate change and energy. We are there to develop the economy, to create the conditions of growth and jobs.
They're stating that your organization, Business Europe, is one of the most influential lobby groups of Brussels.
That's true.
Friends of the Earth, Greenpeace and Climate Action Network complain lobby group Business Europe has a tremendous influence on European decision-making. They especially accuse Business Europe of watering down the EU's climate ambitions from 30% to 20% CO2 reductions by 2020.
But that's not true at all. We just agree with what the Commission, the Council and the Parliament has put forward. That's it. This is not easy for the industry, we have said it, and we will stick to the current policy. And that is something that is absolutely respectable. It will cost a lot of money to the industry. It will also cause some job losses.
A recent study from the Potsdam Institute for Climate Change, for Climate Research, including the Sorbonne University, which says very clearly that if the EU would move from 20 to 30% CO2 reduction, this would create 6 million jobs in Europe, and it would boost the European economy. This is exactly opposite to what Business Europe is making us believe.
If we were taking higher climate action, if we were going higher in terms of climate targets, we could actually create new possibilities, new jobs.
Our engagement against climate change is very important, but now we have good rules, 20-20-20. If we want to change these rules, it's important a global agreement. We are in favor, but without global agreement it's impossible to change because it's a danger for our economic system, it's a danger for industry, it's a danger for small and medium enterprises.
But don't you think if we are ambitious and the world sees that our system is working...
2020 is very ambitious.
Most of the economic projections by the European Commission show that we are already on a trajectory of minus 20% emissions by 2020. Business Europe is blocking enhanced climate action in Europe. Right now we see that the 20% reduction target by 2020 is almost business as usual. So if you block a target of 30%, you're actually saying we don't want to do anything more.
The green avenue is the avenue on which we want to go, with the NGOs, with the research laboratories, with the policymakers. It's a win-win, and again, industry was the first to walk its talk. And we see that a lot of people in the street talk about green, but that in the households, the behavior and the discipline and being energy efficient is not always there.
The final target is green economy. Now it's possible a greener economy. I am, and all commissioners are working in favor of green economy, but step by step. It's impossible today.
Now, you can always go further, you can always do more, you can always dream of more, but we want to stick to what has been decided.
Well, I think the main point here is that Business Europe just no longer represents, sort of an actual voice of European business. So, if Business Europe says we're against, sort of more climate policy in Europe, they're only speaking for a certain fraction of their actual membership, because a lot of companies and a lot of business sectors are actually seeing the opportunities that come with saving energy, renovating buildings, the jobs that come with that, investing in renewable energy. So, that is, I think, our main challenge to Business Europe is, sort of, you do not longer represent actual voice of business in Europe, and you should sort of rather, stay silent and also let the positive voices come forward.
Business Europe has been kind of hijacked by the energy dirty companies like Shell, ArcelorMittal, steel companies, cement companies. They are deciding what is the Business Europe policy on climate change, and they are obstructing climate action.
We see their lobby briefings towards prime ministers, towards the European Council, towards members of parliament, towards the European Commission, towards staff of the European Commission, and so on and so on.
We say what we think. We go to see those who have to take the decision. I think at the European level there is a democratic process. They go and decisions are taken, but we explain what the consequences are.
We have seen in Copenhagen that unilateral measures taken in Europe, which are more stringent than elsewhere, are measures which are intended to show leadership, but the leader has not been followed.
And it's not only the Business Europe as a whole, you have important sector federations which are members of Business Europe who do the same thing, and in some cases even more aggressively. Just now, Eurofer, the steel lobby, has announced that they're going to start a court case against the emissions trading system because they say they will be short of emission allowances. While only a month ago, ArcelorMittal said they made 140 million profits on a surplus of those allowances. So they just annoy, or they just take the Commission to court because they can. It's pure power arrogance we see here.
We need people to take action and to stop lobbying for fake reasons.
Okay, Mr. White, do you agree with NGOs that state that this event is a lobby event?
No, I most certainly do not, except in the sense that the NGOs have been lobbying this event from the outside by getting arrested, chaining themselves to the doors and coming down the walls on ropes. This is an open conference. The press are invited in, everything is open, people can ask questions and it's visible and clear what's going on. No doubt people do meet people and set things up, but there's very little way of controlling that. Where it gets insidious lobbying is when companies or others invite people to corporate events, like a day at Wimbledon or a day at the races or a week sailing in the Mediterranean. Now, we've seen scandals involving sailing in the Mediterranean on very expensive boats, and what we really need is a bit more transparency in Brussels on this issue. That's the real problem.